For me, there's a bit of a grey area with HIIT training. Something I've seen with the senior citizens, rehab for senior citizens. We're not strictly saying that people with Crohn's disease or people with chronic illnesses are like pensioners, but if you imagine a pensioner, you're not going to get them to be sprinting, doing 60-meter sprints down the track. But for that individual, doing a 50-meter walk, that could be them at capacity.
Absolutely.
And having a recovery for, let's say they can walk 10 meters in 10 seconds, and then they recover for 10 seconds on a seat, and then walk back 10 seconds. That for them, at a very basic level, is essentially HIIT training. It comes back to what you're saying, like if you can do 5 squats in 10 seconds, take 10 seconds recovery and do 5 squats in 10 seconds, just adapting it for yourself. You don't have to be doing ridiculousness. You don't need to be going on to like a CrossFit website, and too many people do that and they look at an elite athlete or some celebrity and think that that might be suitable for them, but actually that person's got a personal trainer, a professional plan, and access to a whole lot of different support networks that enable them to perform like that. So it's best, like John said, to your body and gauge it to yourself. My points, if you were just starting out, would be just think about taking it a bit slow. As John already alluded to, your execution of the movement, it's like making sure that you're doing it correctly is going to be the best thing that you could do to start with, and then worry about fitting that into a timed window. Because if you're doing press-ups, for example, if you're doing a press-up wrong, then you're not getting what you should be getting from a press-up, you're getting something else. Same with a squat. If you're not squatting with good technique, you're just not going to get the training crossover effect that a squat's meant to give you. Just having that understanding that you need to move right to get that training effect, and right, you're doing something else. You'll still get a sweat and a burn out of it, and if that's your goal.
So what I would tend to say to a patient is that if we look at kind of 3 levels, first of all is your movement. Understand, get your movement right. If you're not getting that right, don't add in the resistance, because essentially we're building strength on shit form, and that's the last thing we need. So get your movement right first. That's your basic foundation. Once we've got our movements right, we're understanding how our body should move, then we start adding resistance to it. Yeah, so we add the resistance, so we're moving well, and now we're getting stronger. We're adding resistance, we're making it that much harder. Then finally we add the intensity. So when we talk about HIIT, the HIIT training, it's high intensity, but it's not just going straight into that top level. That's basically what you build up to. The intensity is what you build up to. You need your movement right. You start adding resistance, such as body weight, different reps, different, pulses, holds, so forth. Not necessarily just putting loads of weight onto a bar. And then you add the intensity. Then you add the speed, the different time sets. Does that make sense? That's a good way of looking at how to build it up. Not just dive in straight in high intensity, because you haven't built up the pillars below. Those pillars are missing. You haven't got a good foundation.
I think with that, just the exercises that we talked about, you can do all of these at home. Do you know what I mean? And that's one of the beauties of it. What about people, generally speaking, just starting to take up exercise? So they've seen this and it's recommending exercise. How would you steer those people?
One of the main things I always say is be consistent, because you've got to enjoy what you're doing. But when you're tired, you're fatigued, it's hard to even kind of get through the day, get through your daily job without thinking about exercise on top of that. But if you just start off very low level, say to yourself, right, today I'm going to do 10 minutes of walking. That could be with your family, that could be out by yourself, that could be your lunch break, whatever break you're going to take. It's starting somewhere. It's starting exercise. It's not just sitting around, moping around and feeling sorry for yourself. My body's not ready for this. Go and do something. That 10 minutes, the next day, you might think, do you know what? I've got 20 minutes in me, I've got 15 minutes in me, and start building it that way. You've got to start somewhere, and it's not, like I said, not just diving straight in the deep end. So whether you're from beginner or you're in remission or whatever you're starting from, it's always start low level and start with that. I know it sounds very naughty and very obvious, but I think too much for us, like you said, is just jump straight in the deep end, and then we just kind of become very demotivated, discouraged, that this is probably not for me. Whereas if you start slow and start building up, you'll see your goals, you see your targets, you'll feel better about yourself, you motivate yourself.
And for those that have sort of hit that level, if you're thinking about, right, okay, I'm happy now with exercise, and you're thinking about joining a gym, like visit a gym and make sure you feel comfortable in that environment. You don't need to join straight away. You can get like a free access or whatever. Lots of gyms now will do deals for you where you can go in and you can do a week's sessions, or you might get like a few just like taster sessions, they call them. So just take that time, become comfortable in that environment before you join it. As well as that, like, try and sample some classes. Sometimes, especially for people that aren't from a fitness background, classes can be a great way to get you into training and fitness as part of your lifestyle, because you're there with other people. And I'll be honest with you, in those fitness classes, people ain't fit. So, people that are coming from the same sort of backgrounds. And the only thing that I would say with that one is, like, if you're going to take a class and you're a bit concerned about it, if in case you get that urge to go to the bathroom suddenly, just make sure or try your best to get as close to the door. And people are quite understanding if you just say to them, look, I've got a bit of an issue, do you mind if I be close to the door? My experience is people are very accommodating.
Yeah.
The biggest one for us with colitis and Crohn's, and if you've got a pouch or a full track or a stoma, is hydration. We lose a lot of water already just from day to day. So just make sure you've got a water bottle when you're doing fitness training, and just make sure you stay on top of your hydration, because that's a big concern, and it can cause exercising to have a bad effect because you're dehydrated, as opposed to all the positives that could come with it. And I wouldn't want people to miss out on the positives that exercise can bring from something as simple as making sure you drink some water.
Completely agree, yeah. So going into classes and so forth, we just think, well, there's no need to be, I mean, some people may feel intimidated, and I think the biggest point to take away when you go to an exercise class is everyone started somewhere. They are just focusing on what they're doing. They're not looking around looking for someone who's kind of not doing what they should be doing, if that makes sense. So just get in there, do what you can, give it a taster session, see how it feels. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but at least you've given it a go. And like I said, everyone works at their own level. You're not in there to be the best person in that class. That's not what's all about. They're not giving out any special prizes for being the best person in the class. It's all about what you're able to do, how far you're able to push yourself, and knowing, like we said at the beginning, is knowing your body and how far you can push it.
Yeah, and just through figuring out, one of the things I find interestingly is in this the civvy gyms that I've been to, is actually the meatheads are the most approachable guys in there. You get your prima donnas that sit there and pose and strut, and your girls doing their best Kardashian impression. But actually, the meatheads doing the work over at the free weights area are generally the guys that are most willing to talk.
Yeah.
Mostly because they've got long rest periods between their sets.
Yeah.
And also they're very willing to shell out like basic advice. From my experience, a lot of them are fairly knowledgeable, but the ones that aren't are willing to say that I'm not the most knowledgeable, but this is what I do know. And then the beauty of that, like starting exercise, it just opens up a whole new chapter. There's so many more opportunities for you. Like, you're already lowering, by being active, lowering your risk of getting colon cancer, which is something that we're at an exceptionally higher risk of. If you're able to do resistance training, so like starting to even just doing walking, a bit of running, you're reducing your risk of osteoporosis, which again is something that we're more susceptible to because of the way the inflammation diseases work. Minutes. You know what? Our wives cannot complain. They're well looked after.
You're going to get 10 minutes back from me now. She'll be so happy.
If you enjoyed today's episode, just make sure that you subscribe, like the video down below, and if you hit the little bell icon, you'll get updated or whenever we put new content onto our channel.